Tottenham travelled to Allianz Stadium to take on Juventus for the first leg of this last 16 tie. Juventus were the favourites for this tie, but Pochettino could very well have snatched a win over the two legs. It all came down to one subtle change Allegri made in the second leg that eventually led his team to come back and win the tie. But before we get into the second leg, let's take a look at the first one, because Pochettino deserves more credit for how his team played in this tie. On paper, it seemed like Pochettino went with a 4-3-3, but it was actually a 4-2-3-1, with Dyer and Dembele just in behind the creative outlets. Juventus, on the other hand, went with the 4-3-3, with Mandzukic regularly dropping back to mark a Tottenham fullback. Juventus started the game with high intensity, which was causing Tottenham a lot of trouble early on. In the second minute of the game, this happens out of nowhere. Not even 5 minutes had passed after Higuain opened the scoring, and then this happens. Tottenham were clearly struggling early on as Juventus' intensity was hard to match. After that goal, Tottenham started to come out of their shell as they pressed with high pressure, trying to get back into the game. Since Juventus already had a 2-goal lead, they were more than happy to sit back and let Tottenham do most of the work. Due to that, for the rest of the half, Juventus only managed to create this chance. That is all down to how Tottenham were playing. You see, Juventus didn't choose to sit back and counter only once per half. It was because of Pochettino. His tactics basically pinned back Juventus for a majority of this match. Let's get into more detail. Pochettino always likes to have his fullbacks high up, who are usually the widest players on either flanks. But the midfield was the key for Pochettino. Notice how Tottenham midfielders are playing narrow, forcing Juventus to come narrow as well. Since Juventus were coming narrow a lot, Tottenham were able to find spaces besides the Juventus midfielders. Notice how Lamela occupies the defenders, while Khedira has to stop Dembele, leaving Ali open. As a result, Tottenham were able to create a lot of chances. And were playing really good as Juventus struggled to keep them in check. In the 34th minute, Tottenham were finally able to get their first goal of the game. In the last minute of the first half, this happened. Juventus could have been leading with 2 goals only if Higuain had scored, even though they were second best to Tottenham for the most part. Allegri did not make any changes, so as expected, Tottenham continued to be the better team in the second half. Just to give you an idea, check out these stats. Tottenham were dominating this game, no doubt. Tottenham continued to attack, looking for the second away goal. To make even more space in the middle, Pochettino tasked Dembele and Dyer to go over to one side of the field. Following that foul, Eriksen stepped up to take that free kick in the 70th minute of this game. Juventus had a couple of chances as well, but it was not good enough to get Juventus another goal. The first leg ended with Tottenham emerging as the favourites as they had 2 away goals. That meant that Juventus had to go out and attack in that second leg. Pochettino was aware of this, of course, so he decided to tweak his team from the first leg and went with Son instead of Lamela. His tactics were also tweaked, which we will get into after we take a look at how Juventus lined up. Allegri also changed his team from the first leg and included Dybala, Matuidi and Barzagli this time around. Pochettino's tactics were brilliant in this game as well, at least in the first half. These tactics made sure that Juventus were on the back foot right from the start. I mentioned earlier that Pochettino loves to use his fullbacks to help in attack. Well, in this game, instead of going upfield, the fullback stayed relatively back. Kane with space on the right wing after Sandro is caught upfield. This made it difficult for the Juventus wingers to track back. And at the same time, Ali, Son and Kane were staying near the defenders, as opposed to playing besides the midfielders in the first leg. Kane occupies two defenders, while Ali drags away the right back, leaving space for Son on the left wing. As you saw, Son was getting a lot of space on the left wing after Ali occupied Barzagli. Notice how Ali occupies Benatia and Barzagli, leaving space for Son on the left wing. This was key for Tottenham in the first half. Tottenham's positioning in the final third was brilliant as it kept creating spaces in dangerous areas. Just look at this example. Pay close attention to where the Juventus defenders are. All the Tottenham players are dragging the Juventus defenders out of position, leaving Son wide open on the left wing. Even when Sandro decided to stay back instead of going upfield to mark Trippier, Tottenham were still able to get upfield quite easily. Kane occupies two defenders, leaving Khedira to mark two players in the midfield. This is what followed at the end of the same play. Tottenham were totally dominating Juventus again. These tactics made sure that Tottenham were in control with the ball. Without the ball, they were able to make sure that Juventus did not manage a single shot at the goal. This is because Tottenham did not press the goalkeeper whenever Juventus tried to play from the back. And Kane made sure that Juventus were always on one side of the field, not allowing any space in the middle. The 4-2-3-1 shape also allowed Tottenham to have an extra man to defend the space in front of the defenders. All this forced Dybala to play much deeper than usual in his free role. It was the same exact story in the second half until Allegri made a couple of substitutions. This substitution is the sole reason why Juventus won this tie. Let's break it down. In the 60th minute, Allegri brought on Asamoah and Lichtsteiner for Matuidi and Benatia. This meant that Barzagli became a center back while Asamoah and Lichtsteiner became fullbacks. Sandro was pushed into Matuidi's position in midfield. Allegri's goal of this substitution was to stretch the game as much as he can. Let's take a look at the last clip again, but from a different angle. Costa occupies Davies, leaving Dybala open. As a result, Juventus were having an easy time playing from the back. It's no wonder this happened only a couple minutes after Allegri made his substitutions, using the space on the right because of the extra man. Pjanic and Khedira were content with not being involved in the build-up. This is because their main objective during the build-up was to drag away Tottenham players. Let's take a look at that clip again. Notice how Juventus players open a channel for Higuain by going to the right while the midfielders come deep. That play eventually resulted in Juventus scoring their second goal of the game, which meant that if the score remained the same, Juventus would advance. Tottenham kept trying to get another goal as they brought on Lamela for Dyer in the 74th minute. But Juventus did well to keep the score just how they wanted. The game ended with Allegri's Juventus emerging victorious. It was a great tactical battle between two great managers. What do you guys think about their tactics? What do you guys think about this tie? I would love to hear what you guys think, so let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thank you to Kale Mombongo, Anthony, Tej Mullen, and Shawshank BR for supporting this channel on Patreon. You're making it possible for me to keep making videos like these. If you like what I do and would like to support the channel so I don't have to worry about my videos being blocked or demonetized, check out the Patreon page by clicking the link in the description or the pop-up on the top right.